Scooter gave us a great topic to dive into today as we consider his youth ministry biblical. I hope you consider youth ministry to be biblical. That's your calling. That's what you're investing your life in. But sometimes we encounter people in our church, leaders in churches that say, is youth ministry biblical? And I believe it is. As we come to look at the local church and we look at how God orchestrated it, we find that there are preschoolers, children, youth, college students, young, medium, and senior adults. And I don't think we want any of those groups to be left out in our congregation. I think youth ministry is vital for several reasons, but I want you to consider today the reciprocal aspect of youth ministry. It's not so much a question of how can the church minister to teenagers as much as how can teenagers minister to the bigger picture of the church. How many churches could do VBS without a youth ministry? I mean, someone has to have help with recreation. Someone has to have help with snacks. And although there may be churches with a limited number of teenagers that is still able to do a quality VBS, VBS has always been that one-time reminder that youth ministry is a vital part of the church, because as a youth minister, I was always called by the VBS director, how many youth workers do you think we're going to have this year? And do you think they could help in this class? And could they help with this activity? And could they be a part here? And so I believe youth ministry is vital in our churches. I believe our churches would miss out a lot if we didn't have youth ministry. Well, as we continue to think, not only is it reciprocal, we have to in our society do a 100-year review, if you will. 100-year review for us would be simple to just walk back through the pages because many people come from the aspect that, well, we see children in the Bible and we see adults, but we really don't see teenagers. Well, in our society, we really didn't see teenagers till about the last 100 years. Why? Well, our society decided that there should be child labor laws. Our society decided that there should be public high school. And so we created a time where children could postpone to 18. We see that. When do you vote? 12? No, you vote at 18. When do you do military service? 14? No, 18. So the reality is our society has allowed children to extend, and we called it teenagers. So for me, youth ministry is just like in the Bible. So to prove my viewpoint, I think when Jesus was with the disciples and they were interacting over a child and children among them, and Jesus said, you better create a pathway for these children. You better not hinder these children to come to me. I believe teenagers is part of that equation in the society we have created. In the society we created, children includes youth ministry. Of course, we don't call them children, but the reality is they are not full sponsoring adults until they are 18. We're even seeing adolescence extend a little bit with the college world, where students are not taking full responsibility for their own bills and their own actions until they're even beyond college. So the reality for you and I, is youth ministry biblical? Yes, because reaching all people for Christ is biblical. The Great Commission does not exclude students. So I believe for you and I that we need to be reaching and making disciples of all generations within our churches. How you do youth ministry in your church may look different than another church, but I hope that when you count the cost and you are planning what God has called you to do in that community He has placed you, that youth ministry is not only a vital part, but it is a part that reaches out into your community beyond your congregation. That your senior adults see the buy-in because youth are pouring into their lives as well. That adults see the buy-in because parents are being discipled. There are three areas of consideration in youth ministry that I think we need to unpack as I close this time together. The reality is we have to come alongside parents in youth ministry. Not only do we come alongside parents, we have to come alongside the teenagers, and then we have to come alongside the adults in our church, the leaders who are helping us do youth ministry. Those three areas will guarantee youth ministry being important in the work of your church. All three in our youth ministry have to be equipped. They each have gifts. I've never been in a church to where there was not a teenager who was gifted and called to ministry, that when they started using their gifts, mentoring younger teenagers, when they started teaching and helping in different areas of the church and ministry, when they would start seeing that God had given them a voice that could help lead in worship, and they would start singing in a praise team, when they would stop by the preschool area between shifting from preschool, Sunday school to worship time and preschool care, students parents would go read children's stories while workers change to help the interruption time. It's amazing to see what youth can do in the church. So you ask, is youth ministry biblical? Yes, because we are to equip all Christians for the work of ministry, and youth have gifts that can be used in the local church. Please plug youth into the life of your church and have a reciprocal youth ministry that ministers to the other people in your church as the people of your church minister to the youth. Thanks for listening today.